Back to Two Coaches and One Couch. Kathy O'Reilly here, coaching, and also Siobhan Walsh coaching. And today we're delighted actually because today we've got an email from somebody that has sent us something that is just something that has held her back a little bit. And she has very kindly sent us in an email with a few details of what life has been like for her. And she is giving us the opportunity as two coaches to be able to share the email with you and for us as coaches to say what we think might be an opportunity for growth here.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 5. So I'm now going to read the email. So this is anonymous. So, hi, Kathy and Siobhan, loving the new podcast. I just wanted to write in and get both of your perspectives on my dilemma. I've become estranged from my mother, going on 1.5 years now. My siblings, all 3 of them, have followed suit since then. This all became possible after the death of our dad 2 years ago, because we were unable to be assertive and withdraw without dad being punished by her, which was the usual pattern down through the years. We, myself and my sisters, cared for our dad up until his death at home, and during the last few weeks of trying to care for him and performing very difficult tasks for dad, we had to manage our mother, which made a difficult situation even more difficult. I won't go into the many different incidents, but suffice to say she acted like a spoilt child who wasn't happy with the attention not being on her and did what she could to change that. Our mother is very emotionally immature and has always prioritized others outside of the family and will non-stop talk about others and what's going on with them. Myself personally, I feel no emotional connection to my mother, and while initially I was so angry, I've had a good bit of time to calm down, and now I just feel nothing towards her. And this bothers me even more as it feels inhuman to me to feel that way towards my own mother. I'm a carer by profession, and it bothers me that I can't be so... I'm a carer by profession, and it bothers me that I can be so caring towards strangers, but why I can't be like that with her. Anyway, recently she reached out to all of us, one by one, asking in a very matter-of-fact way if we wanted to have a relationship with her, never saying sorry or that she loved or missed us. I never answered the call as I was present for the call with one of my sisters and knew it would just be a repeat. I text her saying I'd be interested in speaking with her in the presence of a counsellor during maybe a family mediation session. She took this to mean I was going to organise this, and that's not what I meant. I feel if she really wanted a relationship, she would organise this, and this also really annoys me as this is always her way. Sure, someone else will do this for me. Sorry, I know this is a long email and maybe not the kind of email you're looking for the podcast. Thank you. Even just getting it out of my head helps.
Amazing, isn't it? Well, first of all, I want to say absolutely 100%. We are delighted to receive the email.
Yeah.
And we are so open to having more emails like this coming through. And there's a lot in the email, Siobhan, isn't there? There's an awful lot in it, really. And you know what? In everybody's story, there are many, many, many angles. As I often say in life, it's like a car crash. It's different from every angle. This story, there are so many, many pieces here that we'll just break down a few things that came up for me. And, because I'm from the listener's point of view, you'll need to just stay with the few bullet points that are relevant to her story. I mean, first of all, it's been 2 years since Dad died. 2 years. And herself and her siblings, her 3 siblings, her sisters, have become estranged from her mother for 1.5 years. Struggled for 6 months after Dad died to try and stay in the system with their mother. That's the first thing that comes up for me when I heard that. The second thing that came up from this email is that it was a pattern of punishment to their father. And they would have witnessed that. Now, they're together in this and they are very happy to all agree, which is a beautiful thing because sometimes what happens is you'll have some that will agree and some that will disagree. That causes more conflict in the family, as in the siblings. But this is different in this sense that they are all absolutely in agreement that this was a difficult time for them, but also it was a pattern that their mother punished their father, and they witnessed that. That's the second thing that comes up for me. The next thing that comes up for me is the fact that she mentioned her mother's extremely emotionally immature. And I mean, as a coach, if I was to sit with her, I probably would ask a little bit more about her mother's family of origin, what it was like for her mother growing up. Why was she so immature? What was her own childhood like? I mean, I would probably go into that. The next thing is that, like, it was difficult dealing with her father in his dying months because the mother was dancing for attention, and it made it even more difficult to be there. Now, the thing is that the anger has subsided. This is another point she's made, that after dad died, she was so angry, but it has subsided. And she now feels really, where does it leave her and her siblings? The mother has reached out and she's asked for reconciliation, but again, in her terms. She's made no effort to show that she's sorry or that she loves them, she misses them, she wants unity in the family. It's about her, really. What can she get out of it again? And I suppose really what comes up for me is this woman that has written this email to us, she's feeling so, I suppose, disappointed with herself because she's a carer. In the caring profession, she cares for people. She can't do it for her mother. And it's leaving her feel less as a person. She wants to be more for her mother, but she feels this is what's coming up for me, that she can do it for strangers. But she has such a history with her that she just can't go there. Now, what's your view on it, Siobhan? What's coming up for you?
Yeah, first of all, the courage and bravery to send that email in itself is huge. So thank you for sending that and even going to the effort and time to ask and look for some help and advice, which is really brave. What's coming up for me is what the outcome would she like from this? So does she want to have a relationship with the mother, or is this so when something's played out for so long, when the father's been sick, there's been, the attention's wanted, the mum's, she said emotionally immature, this might have played out through all of the life and come to light more in the last months of the father dying. But I would really ask, like she said, the anger's subsided now and, she's got the unity of her sisters, but what is she looking for? Would she like to be there for her mum? Or is it now she's okay with it not being, or does she want to have that peace within herself? Because that's the most important thing. Like we all have families, we don't all get on, and that's okay. But having that peace within yourself and not having that guilt, because I know she said that the anger has subsided, but by sending the email in, there's something underlying there and there's something still playing out that she would like to have a resolution. So I would ask and I would look at, not the tit for tat, like the mum's obviously going through her own, the mum is behaving the way she's behaving and they're reacting and responding to that. And that's not anyone's fault. That's just the dynamic of the family. So my thing would be, what would she like to get from this? Would she like to have a relationship with the mum? If so, maybe not backing down to be like, she's not a message saying that she loves us or misses us. But if you can override that and think, well, actually, I can organize this if it's what I want to have that relationship with my mum, so they're the kind of things that I would go into. And to really find, because like she said, with strangers, she can be so caring. And like everything, it's a lot easier, and this is no disrespect, but it's a lot easier to be nicer to someone that you don't really know as well, because you don't have that history and you don't have all of the stuff that comes with that. So that would be my take on it.
I suppose what comes up for me is that she mentioned in the email also, and I should have said this as one of our things earlier when I mentioned about the email in general, that she mentioned that she would like her mother, to be with, if she wants a reconciliation, to meet them, but to be mentored by a counselor or a family intervention, by somebody to witness the experience, so that they'd all have their say and that it wouldn't be all about the mother again. I mean, my concern there is this, that like if this is a pattern and they have been brought up by their mother, their siblings, this has been huge all their lives by the sound of it. And like they sound to me like that they loved their father and, they looked after him very well before he died. So like, would it be better? I'm only making a suggestion, if it's a suggestion that she's looking for them to go together on their own without their mother, because I don't know the age profile of their mother, but I'm presuming that she's not young. So, like, is she going to change, or is it going to be, as you said, tit for tat, and becoming more of a thing? If they went together to speak to somebody to help them to get what they need out of it, I mean, if she's been immature all her life and that's the way she's been and that's the way she's mothered them, then she's not going to really change. She will try to make it all about her again, and that will that maybe escalate their anger now that they've subsided to a place of being a bit calmer. And instead, it's about them getting to a place where they are going to be okay going forward. They together going to somebody that would help them might be the best way of approaching it, because will they change their mother? Will they get what they need from her? I would say it's unlikely.
Oh, yeah, I'd have to agree.
I'll give you an example. A friend of mine who had a very elderly mother, and her mother was getting to a point where she was very demanding. Now, old people can be demanding with their children because, as you said, they can be very nice to the carers coming in, but they can be difficult with their children. They all have history. Everybody's been in this place for a long time together. But my advice to her was, bite your lip, because the day will come when there'll be a vacant space and she will be gone. So just for that moment when you feel like jumping in and saying something that you're going to regret later, think of yourself first and say, how will I feel about me later? Because when people are immature and manipulative, the other person, the other end of that story, they always walk away feeling like they feel like shit. Actually, they don't feel good about behavior. So taking back your own power here. How do you go to a place where you feel I'm in control of my life? I can still be relatively, kind of there, good, supportive, because she's probably elderly. I'm taking it that she is. And how do herself and her sisters get that support for them more than their mother, really? It's about how do they manage themselves in that situation.
Yeah, I think because sounds like there's such a lot of hurt. There's been a loss. There's been, a separation in the unit, that from both the loss and the arguments with the mother, or the what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, but I think the boundary, like, you can still have a relationship with somebody and still have that boundary of, this is where I'm going to give so much. And, you might not be met halfway, and that might not be possible because, like you said, at that age, people might not want to change and also don't know how to change or think, that's a very personal, individual thing for the mother. But being okay with if she wants to have a relationship, like you said, going to see somebody and finding what that looks like for her and how she can move forward with the mom, is because there's obviously so much hurt there, and like that's built up throughout the years. And even as fully functioning adults, you can still go back to that place and be like, oh, she's doing it again. And that's not, it is the history of it, but it's not what's happening in the moment. And all of these combine together and make the situation way worse. So, speaking to someone, you can kind of detach those parts and then come into it as a different version now.
And I'd like to share something else. I've worked with lots of people that have similar experiences. And sometimes it's the curiosity around getting to know somebody, even though there's massive history, a lot of hurt, a lot of resentment, there's still an opportunity there for getting to know somebody at a different level. I'll give you an example. My mother died when she was 84. And I remember one day going to visit her. And she was, at that stage, she was really living downstairs because she'd lost, she's quite feeble. But I arrived anyway, and it was winter time. It was probably around this time of the year. And the light was very mellow. And she was sitting by the fire, big roaring fire on, And we left the light off and we started chatting about years ago. And she spoke about her childhood. She spoke about my father, where she met him. And I listened, you know, and it was, I can honestly say it was a beautiful, beautiful experience that I could just be with her. And she was really reminiscing because people, as they get old, they go back a lot. And she enjoyed that so much. And I enjoyed it so much, listening to her talking about her childhood, my grandfather, she was an only child. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is the curiosity to open maybe just a space where they go in to ask more questions about her childhood. They might get to know her. I know that this sounds a bit, kind of, where's the point now at this stage? But it does, honestly, it does have its value. And even when she is being mentored or looked after by her own counselor, herself and her three sisters, for them to be able to nurture the curiosity of going in there, as you said, with boundaries, but with curiosity about who she was before she was their mother. Might get to know her a little bit better, as in, the family of origin, who was she then? And that all helps to break the sort of the trance of, I suppose, resentment and anger and history.
Yeah, because it sounds like there's a lot of that going on and playing out, like a lot of hurt. I keep saying hurt. And I think once, as an outcome, that's a beautiful thing because we kind of attach our version of someone at a certain time and see it even more so through the harder times and the negative times. Whereas, like you say, if you can see someone for who they are in this moment, it can change. Like you said there beautifully about listening to your own mom, you were able to detach from your own probable relationship with her and be with her in that moment, that you learned so much, and what a special moment to share with each other, But I think it would take, like you say, going to speak to someone first and having that support before that can happen.
Yeah. And it can happen. And I suppose, I don't know if our response to the dilemma, something I'm going to share, Siobhan, this is not uncommon.
Oh yeah, not at all, Kathy.
As people get older and they get more needy, and they're, as somebody said to me one time many years ago, anything that bothers you in a relationship, as that person gets older, it grows. It's got a life of its own. When people are mean, they seem more mean as they get older. When somebody's resentful, they seem more resentful. As you said earlier on, it just suddenly, the light shines on that side, and we forget that there are many, many parts. And maybe it's no harm just to explore that,
Yeah, yeah. But it is, my heart goes out to them, but it isn't uncommon. Like you say, it's very common. And like we were only talking recently about the Oprah Winfrey show. I must actually send you that link. She did the talk about people who've been estranged from the parents and the children so it was really interesting. But it's not uncommon, like it's really common. But like I said at the very start, if your intention is to have a relationship with this person, then that's what has to be worked on. And if you don't, then that's absolutely a choice of your own. But if you would like to have some form of connection, then that has to be looked
well,
at.
you're so right, but I would take it another level, another step. It's about, having peace and connection with yourself, because
Absolutely.
these things can break the connection with yourself. So she's distressed anyway. She's obviously very distressed in this email. So it's about knowing that you've done your best and that you're intact yourself afterwards, because mothers and daughters, it's tricky. And it's just about making sure that she's intact here, really.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. She needs to do whatever it is that she needs to do for her to stay intact as a human, because when somebody's gone, they're gone. And you don't want to have any of that residue of regret left, that you're thinking, if I had done it differently, if I had said something, if I had met somebody, if I just changed and looked at this through a different lens, could it have been better? So it's doing what's right for her now, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think as well, like, it's such a double-edged sword because, of course, we all die. We all go. We're not here to live forever. However, you can remember that. And I would agree. I'm like, oh, life's too short. But then at the cost of yourself, it's like you said, it's having that boundary with, I'm okay and I can protect myself with this kind of these tools and have that relationship but I wouldn't go into it thinking, oh, I'm just going to submiss to everything because she's not going to be here forever, because you're not doing yourself a service then either. So it's kind of like a fine line.
It is. And really, you see, there's growth in everything, isn't there? Isn't there
Absolutely.
growth in and even in that experience, there's massive growth because
Absolutely.
you're touching into another part of yourself.
Yeah.
Everything is forgiveness, understanding, acceptance. There's all of those things and learning to come to a place where it works for her, really.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. I'm distracted here by this cat.
Oh, meow,
Look at that bloody cat. Oh, drinking out of the cup. Christ
meow. My
almighty.
dog now would love to be up on my lap. That's what she's actually.
Oh,
I love being there.
yeah. But yeah, it's very sorry, I've lost my train of thought. It's a difficult circumstance, but she's not alone. And my advice, probably to finish up on how I would go about it, is definitely seek support for how you can build yourself in order to go and have, if that is the solution for her, to have that relationship with her.
Yeah. And I suppose for me, like what comes up for me really is she has three sisters. There's four of them in this. No, so she just I think what would really help them is for them to go to see somebody together about how they will manage their mother. That's what's important here because her mother is an elderly woman. History longer than theirs. She has been difficult, and this is not new for them. They know that she's difficult. It's how do they do this in a way that is going to work for them and that they don't have any regrets, because that's the last thing they need. So let them be getting the support they need. It's not really, as such, it's kind of not about the mother. It's really about them.
Yeah, I also think that I do would say it's great to go as a unit to counselling, but I think that just from dealing with other people, everyone has their own view of. So those three girls will, or three, I don't know if they're girls or not, but those three people will have their own relationship with the mum that comes with their own history with the mum. So I think individually would be better than going together. That's just because they're all gonna, even though they're all united and have the support of one another, it's going to be very different in how they interact with the mum separately.
Well, that's true. That's very, very true. So I suppose that's more or less, I suppose are you happy? Are you happy that we have given as much
I
as we can in
I
this?
hope that that's given something. I mean, I don't feel like I've been much use at all, if I'm true, Kathy. But I suppose we're not here to, find solutions. Ah, sorry, that's just bit.
Oh my God.
I don't know if Jesus Christ.
Pass out.
My God. I don't know if we're here to find an absolute solution for everybody, but I hope that there's some things that she can take away that
Yeah.
she can use.
You know what? At the end of the day, there's a history here. There is a long, long history. This email, we really do appreciate it because it's given us something to, and this is not just this person's story. This is a story for lots and lots and lots of people. Elderly parents with children, and they're united in that they're together on this. Unfortunately, parents can divide a family because one side feels this way, one side feels that way. They're lucky in that they're all on the same page. That's a huge thing. And I would say to her right now, that is a gift in itself, really, because now you can do something to heal yourselves while still being there in a good way with boundaries, if you want to be there for your elderly mother. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And it's so amazing that she has got the support of the siblings. Like you say, that they're all in it together. At least, if that was fragmented as well, it would be a completely different situation again. So it's really great that they have, they're not alone in what they're feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Siobhan, I think we're coming to a
We're
natural.
coming to a natural end, and I'm sorry about the distraction of the bite of the
But
wasn't even
I think that he added a bit of something to it. He's
a bit of spice. Just to say thank you again for being so vulnerable and to be able to share that as well to that lady or that person.
Yeah, and we would love, love, love if you could just consider maybe sending us, again, some of your dilemmas, because this is a place where it'll be anonymous. We're both coaches and we have other trainings with two different backgrounds. And we'd love, love, love to hear more from you out there. If you have something that you think, you know what, this might be a place where I could actually send it to them, and they may just give me a chance to explore how I'm feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just sharing it, like just writing it down and like taking it away from yourself, is really powerful. Even if, for anyone listening who doesn't feel quite ready to share, but even writing it down as if you were going to can also be hugely beneficial, And of course, we'd love to receive them, but if that isn't quite where you're at, then it's still a really good exercise to do. Just write it all down as if you were needing that help.
Absolutely.
I
And
honestly, completely,
no.
yeah. I swear to God, these cats, Christ, I'm sure they've turned the oven on now.
Oh
What are
no!
we making?
She's probably going to put some cat food on, but anyway.
Like some eggs, please.
Oh, you're as quick as the pose.
Go
Anyway,
on.
no, listen, we'll wrap it up for today, and we'll talk to you all very soon again.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Talk to you soon.